Fox and Friends knows that Donald Trump watches. They like that fact. And so every once in a while, they like to pat Donald on the head and be like, oh my God, Donald, you're so right. So their latest example of that is they had one of the Republican congressmen who wants to end the funding for the special counsel investigation into Donald Trump and his team. They had him on the show and they all had a big circle, something or other, where they were like, oh, yeah, the investigation, oh, Donald, this gotta stop. We're with you, Mr. Trump. It's got to stop. So they have Representative Ron DeSantis on. He's the one that proposed to stop it in the first place. And Brian Kilmeade is very excited about this. Let's watch.
He's proposing legislation to kill the special counsel Robert Mueller's probe into the presidential's ties to Russia 6 months after it passes. It seems reasonable. Congressman, 6 months is enough. Plus, you had James Comey investigating prior to this. Where's this proposal going?
Well, Brian, what we want to do is say very clearly, we don't want to fund fishing expeditions.
Oh, unless they're about Benghazi or Whitewater. All right, I'm gonna get to that in a second. Don't miss those facts. But right now, it's 6 months, come on. I mean, we've been looking into this for a whole 6 months. Like I said, I'm gonna tell you how long Whitewater and Benghazi lasted. Okay, let's keep going though.
My amendment basically says, look, this thing needs to be limited to the campaign in Russia, and it needs to have an end date. If you haven't produced evidence of a crime after almost 2 years of investigating, because Comey investigated for a year before Mueller was appointed, then at some point we have to move on with the American people's business.
At some point we've got to move on. All right, I can't help it. You know how many committee hearings they had on Benghazi? 33. I mean, at some point, we got to move on. Every one of the committees that looked into it was led by Republicans. They all concluded there was nothing illegal and they had nothing to charge anyone on and they couldn't find wrongdoing. But at some point, we got to move on. You know, I mean, we've had a couple of seconds here, but they're in the middle of the investigation. They're in the middle of a grand jury. Just to wrap up the grand jury, come on. What are you trying to hide? If you don't have anything to hide, why are you in a panic to move on while there's a grand jury listening to evidence? More.
Does it concern you what you've known so far, the fact that they raid Paul Manafort's house, they're looking at his international context? Does it bother you that Robert Mueller reportedly conferring with the arch enemy of President Trump, the Attorney General Schneiderman, they've been going at each other for years. Now they're conferring directly. Does that bother you or encourage you that they're trying to get to the end of this?
It concerns me because a lot of the Manafort stuff happened way before the campaign. Maybe he did stuff 2-3 years ago, but that's not really, you don't need a special counsel for that.
So let's get this right. He says it should be limited to the campaign, not anything that happened before the campaign, not anything that happened after the campaign. No, I want to really, really limit it. I mean, Manafort, who was his campaign manager, maybe he committed crimes with the Russians, but don't look into it. Don't look into it. How about Trump's financial dealings? No, under no circumstances. What are you in a panic for? I thought the guy says he's got $10 billion and that everything's on the up and up and he's such a great businessman. You should want them to look into it, and I'm sure Robert Mueller will come out and go, my God, what a successful business executive this guy is. There's nothing untoward at all. No, you're afraid of what they're gonna find. Of course. And by the way, Schneiderman being involved is very important. Why? He's the New York State Attorney General. Donald Trump, as president, can issue federal pardons. So if they turns out his son, Donald Trump Jr., or Kushner or Manafort, who are all in one of the Russian meetings, where, by the way, there's a news story out today. They say Manafort, in one of his texts, talked about donations, and next to the RNC, when they were in a conversation, in a sentence with the RNC, when they were in with the Russians. So I don't know, and of course it's just a leak for now. That's why let them finish the investigation. You don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know the secret evidence that they have or that they're sharing with a grand jury, and neither do you. And you don't know if it exonerates him or says that he's culpable. So, but it's interesting that now they're talking about possible Russian donations. And by the way, yes, that would be a crime. It is illegal for foreigners to give money to politicians, especially running for president. So let's see how it turns out. They don't want it to, but what they can't do, what Trump can't do, is pardon someone if they're charged with a state crime. So if Manafort, for example, broke state laws in New York and now they're investigating his money laundering for the Russians, well, there's no get out of jail free card for that. That's why Republican congressmen like DeSantis and Fox News are in a panic. We gotta wrap this up. And don't talk to Schneiderman. Don't. Oh, really? Oh, he's his nemesis. Why? Because he investigates him? Okay. Last one for you guys here.
Rosenstein seems to be a gift to Democrats and anti-Trumpers that just want to see this president not be successful. The way this was written seems criminal.
Well, that's the thing, Brian. What happens, I don't think this Russia stuff, I've never seen evidence of a crime, but I'm not worried about that.
That was a J.R. Jackson special. Their investigating of the crimes is the crime. Okay, now, these guys want to end this in 6 months. Let me show you how long Whitewater took. Their investigation started in January of 1994, lasted to September of 2000. Not 6 months, 6 years. And by the way, at the end, what did they get? These guys who are talking about, don't look at Trump's finances. Don't look at Manafort before the campaign or after the campaign. They found out that Bill Clinton had done nothing wrong in Whitewater. And so having nothing to do with that land deal in Arkansas, they're like, oh yeah, but he slept with this random woman over here. Ha ha, got you. On a completely unrelated thing that had nothing to do with financial malfeasance or anything along those lines. And these guys have the nerve to talk about an investigation that's a fishing expedition? Are you kidding me? Let's look at Benghazi. There was 10 different organizations and committees looking into Benghazi and having investigations. 2 at the bottom are not congressional, but 8 out of the 10 were congressional. You know that they only did 21 hearings on 9/11? They did 33 hearings on Benghazi. Unbelievable. And how long did it last? From September of 2012 to December of 2016. Not 6 months, but 4 years. Fine, you don't want to use the Whitewater example, we'll take Benghazi. After Robert Mueller looks into Trump for 4 years, we'll say, okay, I guess that was enough. I'm just going by the Republican standard. That's what the Republicans did on Benghazi, so I guess 4 years is the rule now. Help us build independent media together. TYTnetwork.com/join.